Okay, good day. We're going to do a lesson on creating a dormer. We're going to try to keep it as simple as possible. It's kind of a complicated task, so it might bog us down a little bit. We'll see how it goes. So I've opened Revit. Everybody knows by now that this is the icon. I've opened it because it takes a little while. So you're going to start new, and you're looking for a template. You probably could use a whole bunch of different ones. If you go up into the templates, you're looking for something called English Imperial. So we're going to look for the residential default. And just click open. And OK. So by now you should be familiar with this view. So one of the things that you can do right now is you can open up the north elevation. And you can simplify it by getting rid of the first four, and it'll ask you if you're sure or not. So we're going to have first floor. We're going to change the name of this one to top of wall, and it asked if we can rename it. We're going to change it to 8 feet. So now this next part is optional, but if you add in another layer, you have way more control. It does add a level of complexity that you may or may not want. And as you're practicing this, it doesn't really matter, but let's change level 9. Change level 9 to, let's go with top of dormer. And we're going to change level 8 to bottom of dormer. And from there you can play with the heights. This one's 11 and 14. So we're going to leave it there for now. We're going to play with them later on. Okay, so from there we're going to go to the first floor, which is actually the bottom. And our first step is to create the walls. So we go to the architecture tab, and because this is just a basic thing, we're going to stay with the basic walls. We're going to actually just create one wall. So I'm going to deliberately create it down here so that when I'm looking on it, I can sort of distinguish where the wall is. It doesn't matter how long it is. Let's just pick a round number, so 60. You can hit escape. And the other thing is, if you open up this, it'll open up your 3D view. So we can move this if we want. Center it. So if we just make sure we're in modify, grab it, we should be able to move it over anywhere we want. So the next thing we have to do is create a roof. So we click on the roof tab. It's going to ask where you want to create it, and we want to be on the top of the wall. And click OK. And then to do the roof, we want to go to the modify tab. I guess we're already in the roof command. And so there's a few choices. We could pick a wall here. So we want this wall. And this one's going to define the slope, and it's going to have a 1 foot overhang. So we want the overhang to be on the bottom of your frame. And then we can just use these lines to create the other sides. Now you'll see that there's a little triangle there showing that I probably want to uncheck this slope, and then we'll create the other 4 sides. And we'll just make it ridiculous in size. And when I click OK, it's asking me, do I want it to attach? I'll attach this time. And then we can look at it from 3D view, and you can see that we have essentially a basic roof and a basic wall. We want to keep everything simple because this is complicated enough. I've gone through this about 5 times. So the next step in the process is to make the dormer wall. And that's the part that I've been kind of having trouble with. So we click on the wall, and we want to maybe open up the bottom of the dormer wall. So now if you look in your floor plans, you don't see that level that we created. So we want to go to View, and where is it? Plan Views. So under Floor Plans, it's got the 2 layers that we created. So I held Shift and I'm selecting them both. And so when I press that, they're going to now show up. So bottom of the dormer is where I want to create my wall. So here's my wall. This is the top of the roof, and now it's cut off where it intersects the bottom of the dormer. So we can now go to Architecture, we can create wall. So maybe rectangle tool is the best way, and we're going to make it, I don't know, 16. So I'm probably going to end up changing the shape of this. Let's take a look at what that looks like in the view. Now it's way too tall. So to select it, I'm going to hover, I want to hit tab, and I want to click. So now you'll see that the bottom constraint over in the properties panel is the bottom of the dormer, and I actually want this to be the top of the dormer. So once you check both of those, then you can hit apply, and you can see that it's super short. So that's where you can go into the north view, and you can sort of say, okay, I wanted this to be a lot taller. So you can probably just move it, but let's type in let's make it 16. And let's make this roof line, I don't know, 24. It's up there anyways. And then we'll see what it looks like in our view. So is that better? I don't know. Okay, so we want to get rid of the back edge here, so we can just select on it and hit delete. The next thing is we're going to create the roof on, this is going to cause a problem later on, where the bottom of the dormer wall is actually above the roof line. So we can go to that, so bottom of dormer, and we can click on that and move it in. And then we can take a look to see what it looks like. So that's a little bit better. We can go to our north view, and we can click on the bottom of that, and we can change it to 10 feet. And then we can take a look, and we can see. And so that's why we created those 2. So that looks a lot better. In the video that I'm kind of following, it was based on the outside wall that the dormer was built, but I'm trying to make it as controllable as possible. Okay, so our next step is to create the roof on top of that. So I want to open up the top of dormer wall. So let's see if that's available. Now it's not showing me the wall, so I'm going to go back to the bottom of the dormer, and I'm going to go to roof. So once I'm in roof, it's going to ask me a few things. There's define slope and overhang. The base level is going to not be that. So we're going to change it to top of dormer. I wanted to put top of dormer wall, but I guess I did not. And then I want to select the walls. So I want that one to be sloped, and I want this one to not be sloped, but still an overhang. And then I can just take this line. Now, you've got a couple options. The superstition of this is to make sure that your walls are a little bit longer than your roof. So I can just draw a line across here just to make sure of that, and then I can use the trim and extend tool to trim off the purple lines. Otherwise it'll fail. You need a rectangle to finish this, and when you click finish, you should have a dormer roof. So this is probably the best it's ever worked out for me. So the key things are that the walls are extended past the roof for the dormer walls. The bottom of the dormer is actually below the roof line, and there is overhang, So this is probably pretty ideal. When you're doing it, of course, you could be making a lot of mistakes. So let's attach the walls to the dormer. Hopefully that's not a mistake. So I'm going to hover, I'm going to hit tab, and then I'm going to click. So that's all my walls selected, and you can sort of see that this attach top base button becomes available, and I just want to attach it. So if we take a look around, we have created essentially the walls of the dormer attaching to the dormer roof. So that's kind of the first step. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to attach this dormer roof to our normal roof, and that's going to be under modify. So that's this little tiny, so it's called join and unjoin roof. So when you click on it, it's asking you for the target, so the main roof. So we're going to select this here, and then select the face on another roof to join it. So I believe I did that in the wrong order, so I'll try that again. So I hit escape to get out, and what is it? So I want this to attach with this face, and so it did it just magically. So when you're doing that, make sure that you select the roof line on the dormer first, and then the face on the roof that you want. So that creates the roof join of the dormer roof to the main roof. So the next part is to create the opening, because we don't have an opening. So in that, I think that's under modify too. So I'm in modify, I think it's under architect. So this under openings, so there's all different types of openings, but we want the dormer opening. So this one is select the roof to be cut by the dormer opening. So that's this one right here. And then now it wants the lines. So the best way, pick the join roof. Seems like it wants this one. Okay, so now you'll notice that the lines turn purple in there, and it's hard to select when we're in this. So down at the bottom here under graphic options, we want to change it to wired, and we're trying to make all the inside attachments. So this is pick, so we want the inside wall, and you'll see that it crosses over there, and the other inside wall, and then the last is the front face. And so we were very fortunate this time. I've spent a lot of time trying to do that, so it's not always going to work out that easy. The last thing that you have to do is trim these extra parts off, and that's not too bad. Okay, and then we can hit the check mark, and it should look good on the inside. So we can go back to displaying, I don't know, shaded. So at this point, we're almost done. So the last thing that we have to do is we have to attach the dormer walls. So that would be under modify. We are hovering, we hit tab, we select, and now this is going to be important that you change it to the base. So normally we are teaching low things. So now when I click that, it joined the dormer walls to the bottom, and that is very clean looking. And the last thing that we might want to do is add windows just to prove that we can. So let's grab something, put it on there, and let's add a few on the bottom just for fun. Okay, and then you can click on the front and you can clean it up by hitting the modify, select on the window, and you can move it up or down, centered. It was actually pretty centered, and you can do the other ones as well. Okay, so that is pretty well it for the video. So let's give you just a spin, and that's it. That's your dormer, so in all its glory. That has taken me a lot of tries, so I don't expect to do it on the first one. You're probably going to take a few before you get it right. And thank you for watching. Good luck and have fun.